Hey everyone, it's Presley at ActOutGames.com here, and today we're reviewing Bran Hambric, the Specter Key, the second book in the Bran Hambric series. So, like I said, we're doing a review of Bran Hambric, the Specter Key, and it's the second book in the Bran Hambric series, like I said. And it's still a really, really great book.
Yeah.
These are so amazing. I really need book 3, like, right now. This is what happens to me when I finish a series, or at least what's in the series currently, is I just like, why isn't the next book out already?
Right. Yeah, so this definitely will as soon as the next one comes out, we'll get it, but that one's not even out yet, so we can't pick it up and do the reading. But yeah, another excellent book. Like, it was a really good read. Same thing, I did the audiobook, and so I was sitting in my car, like listening, and even in parking lots, like I wanted to get to the end of the chapter or figure out what was going to happen next, so I would not get out of my car for a little while because I was listening.
To be honest, when I was reading it, I normally read for about an hour a day.
Yeah.
I sat on the couch and I read for like 2 hours and 30 minutes, just sitting at the couch. Like, I need to finish.
When you got to the end of it, no, you read for like 5 hours that day, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you just totally you wouldn't put it down. We couldn't get you to do anything else other than plow through and get to the end of the book.
Yeah, it's like I had to come down here and shoot a vlog, and I'm just like, wait a second, I'm almost done. I'm like 87% through. Let me finish it.
Yeah, no, we both were definitely into this one.
Yes.
It was really good, and the plot was a lot different than the first one.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the story?
Okay, so basically this is a very brief summary of the plot because we want you guys to get the book and read it to find out most of the stuff. So basically, it's Bran Hambric. Bran Hambric and Sui go to the bank where Sui works, and they find a box that's titled Emery Hambric, which is his mom. And basically he just tries to open the box for the book.
Yeah, it's like magically locked.
I know, which doesn't sound interesting for a book. He just tries to open the box, the whole book. But it has some sort of magical seal, and then adventure starts happening.
Yeah, adventure ensues.
It makes for quite an interesting book about opening a box.
Yeah, opening box, and then once he gets the box open, that's not too spoilery. He does open the box, and then what's inside of it, he needs to figure out what it is and how to use it, and and he meets all these new characters, and so Nim is a new character.
I like Nim,
and we both definitely love Nim.
I seriously thought Nim looked like a Pokemon.
I can totally see that. I don't have any problem with that. And then Thomas was a new character, right? And in my book, like in the audio book that I was listening to, right, it was the same guy that did the first book, the narration of the first book, right? And he's really awesome, and he does all the cool voices for all the characters. And the voice he used for Thomas, I thought he sounded a lot like George Takei, which was really funny whenever Thomas would show up in the book, and like I picture him sort of as he was described, like as a big kind of gruff, surly dude, but he sounded like George Takei when he was talking, which was really funny. So I enjoyed that a lot. But he was a cool character, and the relationship between Bran and Thomas, and like how they were working together, but ulterior motives and stuff was really cool.
It was really weird when I read the book with Thomas, because I know someone named Thomas, so it's so hard not to imagine that character as the person I knew. But it's so hard not to, because the Thomas I know is completely different from the Thomas in the book.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah. So one of the things that I thought was really cool about this one, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but when I was thinking about it,
I don't really go really deep into books unless it's like Percy Jackson or something, and then I can come up with 50 billion headcanons in 1 second.
Yeah. So what I noticed for this one, that when I was thinking about talking about it for the review, was that in the first book, like Bran was being pursued, right? So he spent a lot of the book, if not the whole book, sort of like running and trying to get away from things that were pursuing him, right? And in this book, it was much more about he was going after something. Like he had a goal and he was trying to achieve that goal. So he was the one that was driving things forward, right? And then sometimes like he would even kind of give up control a little bit and sort of submit to someone else to kind of get him where he needed to be. But he was making those choices more willingly and was doing that to sort of reach his goal and do what he needed to accomplish. And I thought it was kind of cool in this book that he was much more kind of the driving force, and he wasn't trying to get away from something this time. He had a goal that he was trying to accomplish, and he was sort of marching to it. And I thought that was a neat difference between the first book and the second book.
Which just in those few little sentences you said, it shows character development.
Right.
Only in like a few sentences.
Yeah, right. So definitely he's grown since the first book.
Yeah.
It shows kind of how he's grown, and he's learned more about the powers and what he can do.
His relationships with people have developed.
And I just love, like, in the first book we talked about the little, like, details and stuff like that. This whole thing about, like, grabbing and throwing magic, and, like, magic exists, and he would always talk about, like, grabbing magic and pushing the magic away, and, like, it's just sort of this natural force that's around us. And the way that Kaleb describes using magic is just really phenomenal to me. I think it's really cool the way
it feels like
you can feel it, right? Right. Yeah, it feels more realistic than some of the other, you know, things. I mean, yeah.
But the weird thing is, we probably imagine it and feel it completely differently.
Yeah, so one of the things that Presley and I love to do, and we won't do it here for time, right? But we'll both, especially when we both read the same book, is we'll always talk, like while we're reading, we'll sort of compare chapters. And one of the things we like to do is have a long conversation about how we picture each one of the characters.
Yeah.
Because Presley loves sort of how we all see things differently in our mind, and how cool it is when you read a book that you sort of make it the pictures in your head. And so we talk about, what does this person look like to you, and what does this person look like, and what do they wear, and what their hair look like, and stuff. And so we have these long conversations about what the characters look like, and it's a lot of fun because we do see them pretty differently a lot of times. Like sometimes they overlap a lot, right?
Yes.
But sometimes they're just completely different.
Because of the basic description.
You get the description in the book, right? So that kind of steers what you do.
For example, like, for you, like, A Star was blonde, wasn't she?
I think so, yeah.
For me, she has, like, black hair with a little bit of brownish black hair.
And sometimes we'll get, like, on Google Images and look up people, like, celebrities, and be like, I think this is the girl that looks like this, and stuff like that. Yeah, we did. We go into those backstories quite a bit. I think it's pretty cool.
It's really fun.
And then one of the things that happened in this one, too, that makes it sort of it's a good indication of how well written it is and how involved people get. So Presley was reading on the Kindle edition, and I was listening to the book, and so Presley was ahead of me by about 3 chapters probably at one point.
At the other point, I was ahead of you by like 30 chapters.
Oh, you got way ahead of me at the end. Like, you finished way before I did, but at one point, like, Presley's just kind of reading ahead of me, and then I had to go on this business trip, and I was going to Salt Lake City, and Presley, like, was like behaving strangely, like the day before I left. And then while I was gone, she was kind of like, her behavior was just kind of weird. It was kind of off kilter, right? And her mom and I couldn't kind of figure out what was going on and stuff. And then while I was on the plane going to Salt Lake, I was listening to the book, and I got to, there's some emotional stuff that happens in the book. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, right? But there are some things that happen about halfway through the book, or a little bit less than halfway.
Why you do this to me? Why you do this to me, Kaleb? Why you do this?
And so when I landed, I immediately called Dawn, and I was like, hey, let me talk to Presley for a second. And I was like, hey, I just got to this part of the book where this stuff is going on. Is that's what's been bugging you for the past couple of days?
Like, yes.
And she's like, yeah, that's what's going on. And she didn't want to talk to me about it because I was reading the book, and she didn't want to spoil what was happening.
Like, it's so hard not to.
But yeah, like that it can have an emotional impact like that. That's a sign of good writing, right? And a good story and characters that you get really attached to. And
I still wasn't the same since the 5th book of Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, yeah, and it's, so you've got that kind of relationship with the characters, and when something bad happens to one of the characters, you feel it, and yeah, Presley was definitely sort of viscerally responding to what happened in the book.
Especially what
it made me worried for Kaleb at VidCon. I was worried that Presley was going to hunt him down and have some words about what happened, what he did to her.
Bringing the baseball bat now.
But yeah, no, like I said, I think that, again, this is a hard one to talk much about without spoiling some of the stuff that's happening, right? But it's good to think about, like, you know, Bran driving things forward this time and sort of being a more mature character and pushing forward.
Also, sometimes when I'm reading books, sometimes I imagine myself in the context of the book. Example, reading Harry Potter, I imagine myself, well, I was about to say stalking Harry Potter, which is not what I imagine myself doing, but kind of being in the same context and doing stuff. And that really helps me on that really makes a bigger emotional impact on me, because I'm imagining myself doing these things instead of imagining the characters doing these things and the characters only.
You did that for the Bran Hambric books too?
Yeah, I've done that.
So I think, like, again, I think that's another sign of good writing,
yes.
right? That you can get into the book that way.
Yes,
that
like I can actually imagine myself in the book.
As you're part of that world.
And yeah, and sometimes books are so well written that you can easily come up with a scenario that you're doing while you're still experiencing this.
Yeah, you feel like
you're not like a clone of the person of the main character. You're doing something else, but you're still experiencing the whole stuff.
I totally agree.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I know, like this totally had that. It really pulled you into the world, and it's such a, like I said, like the little subtle things and the little things. It's such a complex and well-developed world that I definitely want to experience more of it. Like,
Yes.
I'm looking forward to reading the next book as well.
I'm so looking forward to reading the next book.
Yeah, so big thumbs up again?
Yes.
I definitely read it. I liked it better than the first one, in fact.
It's so hard for me. It's really hard for me to choose favorites unless it's my favorite book series, The Familiars. In fact, I think my all-time favorite book is the 4th book of that series, which is the currentest book, which is the currentest. That's a word now.
Most current.
Most current.
Sure.
Most current book. It just kept getting better, the whole series. And I think the main reason why books just get better to you is I don't really think the writing is better, but the more you read, the more attached you are to these characters.
I think both. Like, I think you get more attached, but I think that, like, you know, even like Kaleb is learning more about the world and getting more comfortable with the world and the characters.
But the writing does get better, but it's not by a ton, which is what you feel, that you get more emotionally attached to these characters, and you really start caring more about what's going on to them.
That's a great point.
Than you do, like, on the first page, you're like, okay, this is our main character, and you're like, okay, I'll get familiar with this person. And by the end of the first book, or especially when you're starting the second book, you start really caring about what's going on to these characters right now.
I think that's an excellent point, Preston.
Yes.
I think you're absolutely right.
And that's what I'm really trying to do with a current book that I'm writing, is I'm trying to get the person emotionally attached to this character.
Right. That's a big part of what you got to do. And I think it's cool. I think reading books like this and sort of knowing people that are writing these books, I think it's inspiring you to continue your writing and to work on your writing and stuff. Yeah.
So I appreciate that. To start writing these stories, Yeah,
so thank you, Kaleb, for that too. That's definitely inspiring Presley to keep up with her writing, which I love.
We should probably do a video soon on the basic plot of what I'm writing right now.
I think that's fine.
There's it's basically
this is not that video.
This is not this video, but it's basically actually not inspired by the other books, which I'm actually surprised about. It's inspired by the own thing that I've created in my mind. And normally when I'm writing, I kind of just borrow off of a lot of other books and then put them together, and they're kind of my own, and they're kind of a story that's different because they're all pulled together in one. But this time it's all in my own mind, and I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do myself.
Cool, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll do a video and talk about your backstory and stuff. Cool. All right, but I think that's good. So definitely check this one out. It's really, really good. Kindle, Audible.com, Amazon. Buy the book and read the book. There's all kinds of different ways to consume it. So
sort of bookstore.
But it's totally worth it. Read the first one first, because
read the first one first.
It definitely leverages.
I just said read the first one fourth by accident.
Yeah, don't read the first one fourth.
Don't do that.
Yeah, right.
Don't do that.
Yeah, so read the first one, then come read this one, and I think as it continues to build, it's going to be awesome.
Yes.
It's my new, like Game of Thrones, waiting for the next book to come out for years, like maybe.
Yeah, I've been doing that with my Familiars, which is my favorite book series. And I'm just like, I need the 5th book right now.
Right. Okay, you gonna sign us off?
Yes. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye, guys.
It's time to press the subscribe button. Subscribe button. Subscribe button. Subscribe. Bye 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 bye.